Hey guys, it's Andrew from Harley-Davidson Abu Dhabi. Today we're going to give you an in-depth difference between a Street Glide ST and a Road Glide ST. The ST range was new for 2022. These two bikes are doing incredibly well alongside their little brother, the Lowrider ST. So, these bikes, a lot of similarities, but also quite a few differences, especially when it comes to riding style, road handling, and crosswind handling. So, we're going to start off with the Road Glide ST, move on to the Street Glide ST, then at the end of the video, we'll show you the similarities. Here we have a 2022 Street Glide ST. Main difference from a Road Glide, first of all, is your batwing fairing up front. This fairing is connected to the handlebars and the front forks of the bike, meaning it turns with the bike. Some riders prefer this, which I'll demonstrate in a short while. So, as you know, because of this fixed fairing, if you do get some crosswinds at high speed, you will get a bit of movement on the handlebar. Some guys really do not like this. That's why they do prefer the Road Glide with that fixed fairing. As for seating position, legs identical to the Road Glide. Arms a bit more straight, a bit more aggressive than the Road Glide. Your Road Glide does have a more relaxed handlebar position. As for your console, identical setup to your Road Glide. You got your dials running on the top, voltmeter, RPM, speedometer and fuel gauge. As for your digital display, you have navigation, infotainment, radio, Apple CarPlay, all kind of great features alongside your different settings and of course your info. In the info you get trip meters, you have elevation, you have GPS statistics, you have tire pressure monitors and even error codes if needed. On your ST you have a single seat setup. As you can see, no pillion pegs, nice low slung seat. On the back, two almost full-size panniers. As for your pannier setup, your Special does have a longer box, the more bagger styled. You lose about 800 milliliters to about a liter of capacity without those, but nobody's really going to notice it. So, on our next comparison, this is a Road Glide ST, 2022 model in vivid black. Biggest difference is your fixed shark nose fairing. This entire fairing is fixed to the frame of the bike and does not move with the handlebar. This is my personal preference, especially when you're getting a lot of crosswinds or in heavier, more rough conditions on the road. This bike is a lot more stable at high speeds than a Street Glide. As for seating, again, leg position identical to the Street Glide, but your handlebar position gives you a bit more of an arm bend. With the handlebars being back like this, you can really lie into it if you've got a backrest or just want to chill out a bit more on the road. When I do get into heavier corners, personally, I prefer shifting a bit forward and getting more weight on that front end. This bike is incredibly stable through turns and crosswinds. As for the digital front end, few differences and a lot of similarities. Voltage meter, fuel, rev limiter and speedometer. Then you got these two handy compartments, one on each side, USB port for your Apple CarPlay and another compartment there for a few items. On the front end you have the exact same system on the Street Glide. You have your GPS navigation with all the important stuff on there. You can actually find dealerships, fuel stations, all kind of stuff like that. Then you also have your information setup, tire pressures. As you can see, this guy is running a bit low. Then you have your trip summary, average speed, and then a few GPS statistics again. As for the rear end, also again, single seater, no pillion foot pegs, and the same classic panniers. The reason they actually trim down these panniers on the ST models is they raise the rear suspension about an inch, and then they trim down the bags and the rear fender at the back. Now that I've shown you the differences in the two bikes, let's talk about the similarities. Both these bikes sport the 117 cubic inch motor alongside a 6-speed gearbox. As for their suspension, mentioned in the Road Glide segment, the suspension's been lifted 1 inch at the back. So what that means, you have better ground clearance in corners, which does change the handling characteristics, bringing that front end in a bit. When it comes to tires, on the front end of these bikes, you have a 19-inch tire, on the rear, the 18-inch. These bikes, again, absolutely identical, except for the front end. So that, guys, was the main comparison and differences between a street glide and a road glide. At the end of the day, it's about your style, picking the right bike for you. And again, if you have any questions, ideas, or just general knowledge you want to share, drop a comment, hit subscribe, drop us a like. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Andrew from Harley-Davidson Abu Dhabi. See you next time.